All right, so everyone, thank you for being here today. This is a development activities meeting for the Dornbush and Bryceland Rain Garden Public Art. So we have Upstream here today and the artist as well. So I'm excited to hear from her. And the East Hills Consensus Group is the reason this is able to happen. Without a registered community organization, we would not be able to have a development activities meeting. So Ms. Diane, did you want to say a few words or anything?
Um, Maybe for Miss Chancey, because what's your name, Chance? Because we haven't met. The East Hills Consensus Group, we're about 15, 16 years old. We've been growing pretty good. This project we're working with Upstream, oh boy, is about 3 years in the making. We're very appreciative of it. And we're very excited, and this is our second meeting like this, so we're growing and we're very appreciative of what's going on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I mentioned earlier, the East Hills Consensus Group is a registered community organization. And these are organizations that have obtained a formal status with the city. So we really rely on them to engage with their neighborhoods, to engage with residents, especially about development projects. And these organizations have to meet a lot of criteria. They have to be certified, they have to have standards, they have to have like communication plans, all sorts of things. So we really appreciate them. And then a development activity meeting is a way for the community to have their say really early on in the development process. The development activities meeting happens early before a developer goes to a commission or a board. So after the dam, we have the 30-day period for public comment, and the community can give written and or verbal testimony. And then there's a public hearing with the board or commission, and you can give testimony via email, show up in person, and I'll have more on that later. And so these meetings are required when there are certain thresholds met. For example, 4 more new units or 2,400 square feet. Or if there's any project, or if a project needs to go to Planning Commission, Zoning Board of Adjustment, Public Art and Civic Design Commission, or Historic Review Commission. This project specifically needs to go to Public Art and Civic Design Commission. So you can send comments to the East Hills Consensus Group. They'll communicate it to me. You can also visit the website noted there, and you can email testimony to pacd@pittsburghpa.gov or send a physical letter, or join the meeting because the website has the Zoom link. Erica, do you happen to know what date your Public Art and Civic Design Commission meeting is? If not, I can just send it out later.
September 25th, I believe, like the second review.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, the 25th, I think.
And I'll also share that with the East Hills Consensus Group and they can notify everyone. Sorry, somebody just joined. And this is just information about the other commissions and boards in case you ever need to join or attend. And these are contacts if you ever want to reach out to us. I'm the neighborhood planner for East Hills, so you can email me with any questions. And then Ose is our planning manager, so she's also a resource. And then if you want to participate, presenters, please clearly describe your slide being presented so that people who are participating via audio can follow along. And if I need to change your status to make you a host or anything, there might be a pause, but you don't have to restart Zoom. You can let it finish. And then after the presentation from Upstream about the project, we have the chat and the Q&A tools for you to type out questions. I can read them out in the order they are received. If you want to speak, you can tap the raise hand button, and then I will unmute you and you can ask your question. And if you are calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand. I'll announce the last 4 digits of your phone number and unmute you when we are ready. And I'm also recording this meeting. So if you weren't able to attend, you can watch it later. And are there any questions before we have Upstream present? Alrighty, I will pass it. Oh, someone have a question? I will pass it over to Eric.
Okay, thank you. Can everyone see this slideshow? Okay, so my name is Erica Jackson. I'm the Community Engagement Manager with Upstream Pittsburgh. Upstream Pittsburgh is a clean water climate justice organization. And one of the things that we do is build rain gardens, gardens that are designed to take in a lot of rain and storm water. And this can help prevent flooding, keep pollution out of waterways, and have a lot of other benefits. So the art project that we're talking about today will be installed on a rain garden that was recently completed in East Hills, on the corner of Dornbush and Bryceland Street. This is what it looks like. The photo on the left shows the view of the rain garden from that corner, and then there is an overhead aerial image that shows the garden, and the art will be towards the back of the garden, kind of up against the tree line. Again, here's where the art will be located, kind of if you're looking at the photo on the left, in that grassy area near the tree line. And it will be visible from the sidewalk. We're hoping it encourages people to engage with the site, and connect with the neighborhood. So real quick background on the site: it used to be a few vacant lots that Upstream has adopted and taken on. This is what the lots looked like before. And how this rain garden works is rainwater flowing down Dornbush Street will be channeled into this area. It kind of looks like a stream bed, and it will be able to act like kind of like a stream when it rains. And yeah, enter some storm drains on the road and then come out that hole that you see. And the site will be able to manage 1.75 million gallons of water annually, which is a ton of water. So hoping that it really helps, again, prevent flooding, make the community able to deal with the impacts of climate change better. And it's located alongside one of the steepest streets in the city, Dornbush Street. So as you can imagine, a lot of water will be running down that when it rains. So we've been working with East Hills Consensus Group on this site for many, many years, as Ms. Diane said. And we have been also engaging with them around the art project. So Marlena, who you will hear from shortly, has presented her design at multiple meetings, or engaged the community even before there was a design, to kind of get some ideas and themes, which you'll hear about soon. This was us at a meeting that we held at the site itself on a very humid day. And she also joined a follow-up meeting to share some drafts with the community. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Marlena to explain more.
Thank you, Erica, everyone. So just quickly about me, I am, well, my name is Marlena, but my full name is Marlena Delvassar. I am an artist and have created artwork over a 16-year period. My artwork's been included in various settings, like galleries and museums and public art projects, just like this one for Dornbush. So when we started this project with community engagement and the project specifications, there were ongoing discussions with Upstream as well as East Hills Consensus Group and the community. And gradually the neighbors knew a few things about this project as well. To start with the project specifications, we knew that the site needed a structure built to place art on, or needed a piece of art built, since there wasn't an existing structure in place to put something like, say, a mural on. So we had some ongoing discussions about what would be best for that. Now, everyone wanted something that was colorful, engaging, and inclusive. And we also wanted to make sure that it was not obstructing any vital areas and kind of have more of an open design. So we wanted to include open areas in the design so it's not obstructing vital areas like the garden beds or the communal meeting areas in the front. So we had to consider that. And we definitely wanted something that was low maintenance and sturdy. Another thing is that for all of my public art projects, including this one, I always consider the demographics and history of the communities I work with. I always tell people it's not about me, it's about we. So I always try to make sure that it's a collaborative process and that the work that's in place is going to be something that is loved and treasured with the community. So we do consider the demographics of the communities that we're placed in. And for East Hills, many of the respondents had mentioned that for the community members that African and Black culture is historically significant, as well as intercultural relations. That's an important part of the neighborhood's history and culture. So having this element it was important to the design. And although I'm normally known for a lot of my figurative work, I did to ask about what type of artwork we were going to feature, if it was going to be representational, have few human figures, if we were concentrating more on organic elements, because I'm pretty versatile with my work. And again, this is more about coming halfway between what I propose and what the community needs. So we want to consider the community's needs. And many of the community members mentioned that African inspired was a great idea, but that it didn't necessarily need to have figures. So I did consider that as part of the design too. And many of the respondents also wanted to portray positive messages in the work that would hopefully improve the intergenerational relationships of people in the neighborhood. So we wanted to strengthen relationships between the younger generation and people who have lived there a very long time, our elders. So I used all of this feedback and the project specifications over the last couple of months to create an African-inspired design. The design started with Adinkra symbols and mainly with the Sankofa bird and the floral elements. And when I use symbols in my work, I like to make sure that add a customized touch to them rather than just taking the symbol as is and just putting it in a setting. I feel like it should be customized and adapted somewhat. So what we did was started with the Adinkra symbols, but then to add that customized touch and kind of give the characters like a more lifelike appearance, I fleshed them out a little bit more. So we were going to have this as more of a relief design instead of a full 3D sculpture, mainly because the area where the proposed area that it's going in, there's not as much space for like a larger sculpture, but there is enough area for a relief or flatter objects. So we're going to have it be a relief instead. One thing I do want to mention here too is that the Sankofa bird symbol is normally shown with a lot of dark areas, but because the area that we are putting it in is further up on the hill, we want that to be visible from all angles. So I just decided, okay, let's reduce some of the darker areas and pump up the color because we really wanted to focus on color and making sure that that was bright and as well as lifelike. So overall, we wanted to keep an animated effect and keep some of the African-inspired palette in there with less of the dark areas. For the design, we originally had some more solid shapes, but I gradually cut those out and made the shapes more open. So you have the open areas with the flowers as well as the grounding elements on the bottom. And we tried to make sure that it was cohesive with the trees and plants that would be around and look like part of the garden so it would fit there seamlessly. Now, the character narrative here, it includes the Sankofa bird, which symbolizes looking back on our past. and the Sankofa bird is crowning the elder tortoise. So the elder tortoise receiving his crown from the Sankofa bird symbolizes learning from our past and an acknowledgement of wisdom that is passed along from this tortoise character onto younger generations. And for our younger generation, we have a little turtle symbolizing our youth, appreciating and looking up to the older tortoise in admiration with an understanding that our elder neighbors deserve respect and acknowledging their contributions to our neighborhood. So I'll also discuss the possibility of continuing this design by adding some colored rocks along the riverbed, or excuse me, along the garden bed. And maybe even having another engagement event where neighbors can decide to paint them and contribute if they wish to really bring everybody together and also continue with the cohesive design around the entire garden. And that's all I have. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I should have mentioned that so the second slide shows the in situ version.
Yeah, and I don't know if people are curious, but here's a slide that shows some of the materials that Marlena will be using. Is there anything you want to say about those, Marlena?
Sure, yes. So one of the things that I had to consider with the project specifications is what we were going to build the structure out of. And I have worked with a couple of different types of sculptural materials, but we really needed to focus on something that was specifically made for public art, that was sturdy and that would be low maintenance and also fit within the project budget. So looking at all of these materials, I actually found this material called Pautaya. And Pautaya was actually developed by a scientist and a public artist. It is the one type of cement that is specifically for public art. So that includes all types of sculpture, including ones that receive a lot of like heavy duty play, like for instance, sculptural furniture, for example. But the compressive strength is actually stronger than concrete. And even though we don't anticipate that this will be climbed on, we do want something that is going to be really sturdy as well as low maintenance and hold a high amount of detail. So that plus the fact that Pittsburgh's weather sometimes is kind of, unpredictable. So this is a very weather resistant material. So it can withstand very low temperatures as well and freezing conditions along with heavy rain and sunshine. Now, as far as the paints are going to be Nova Color, and Nova Color acrylic is kind of an industry standard among muralists and many other public artists. It's one that I use for pretty much all of my murals, but it is guaranteed to last at least like anywhere from 10 to 30 years, depending on which light fastness rating you pick for the colors. And that's with proper maintenance, of course. In the area where we're putting this particular piece of art, I don't anticipate that the colors will fade very quickly, mainly because it receives a lot of shade. But in order to help that with lasting as long as possible, we also make sure to use an anti-graffiti coating. I don't anticipate that this would be something that people would really want to put graffiti on. Normally with graffiti, it seems like they really appreciate blank walls more. So I'm thinking with this being so colorful, it won't be as attractive. But if something like that does happen, the anti-graffiti coating offers UV protection and it makes it easier to remove those stains while protecting the paint. So that is something that is planned to put over the paint as well. So the internal structure, there's some notes here about the internal structure as well. So we plan to use steel armatures and rebar stakes to add to that sturdiness and make sure that the sculpture is not only sturdy, but beautiful and lasts a long time.
Okay, thank you. I guess the last thing I had was just a little timeline of where we're at. So looking, I guess, back, East Hills Consensus Group helped us to interview and hire artists back in March. And I think Marlena began around June or May, sorry, probably, with some of the, seeing the site and talking with residents. So we have submitted the preliminary application to the Art Commission. So our next steps are to receive feedback on that and then go through the next review and hearing period. And then hopefully this fall we'll be able to, Marlena will be able to build the structure and install it. We'll see how all of that goes with the winter and timing and everything. And I guess I wanted to also make a plug for anyone interested in getting involved with East Hills Consensus Group. I put the email there, but Miss Diane may have more information about how to plug in. That's my contact information. And then, this project is funded by the URA. And I guess I'll hand it back over to Adriana.
Thanks, Erica and Marlana. I forgot to mention earlier, but I am taking a report with all this information and the Q&A portion. I will make notes of that too. So at this time, are there any questions or comments for the artist?
I'm excited about it. I think the way you just explained it does depict pretty well. And I think residents on the street should be very pleased with it. And we're just excited so far. And you're right, it has been a long process, but we're really excited and looking forward to seeing it. And looking forward to November the 2nd, where we're going to try to have a little party down in the community.
Okay, well, if there are no more questions, I think we can conclude the meeting. But thank you so much for Upstream being here and the artist Marlana. I really appreciate it. And the East Hills Consensus Group being a great partner at this meeting. And I will upload the report to the city's development activities meeting website and share it with the East Hills Consensus Group as well. And I'll share the recording.
Well, I would like to say too, I see a few consensus group members here. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you very much for taking out your time of today.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. Unless
Thank
someone
you,
was
Adriana, for everything.
Yes, thank you, Adriana.
welcome.